Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. What do you think? Was this an affair? Advice. My wife made friends with her boss without telling me and he started hitting on her. She admitted she enjoyed his attention and encouraged his interactions and interest but tried to ignore it when he hit on her. Eventually, she told him she had a crush on him but could only be friends because she was married. She says she was trying to let him down easy and not hurt his ego. She claims that in hindsight she did not really have a crush on him but was confusing her fear of him for having feelings for him. She said he started pressuring her repeatedly and eventually got her into a physical relationship. She found out this was his mo at work and was doing this with other subordinates. She was in this relationship for months and kept everything a secret from me. I didn't even know he existed at work. She only talked about other co-workers or other administrators. She admitted they regularly kissed and hugged and then he would escalate without her permission and touch her all over her thighs and butt and put his fingers in her underwear. She claims the kisses were only pecks and that she never touched him back. She tried over and over to reset the relationship to just friends but he never stopped pressuring her or touching her without asking first. Eventually, they were found out at work and that's how I found out as well. During the course of their relationship she gave him a pet name and he gave her one. Read books that he recommended. Sent him a special note and kept the one he gave her in return. Sat on his lap regularly. Shaved her privates for him. Would take his calls outside of work. Waited after hours at work for him to visit her. Met with him for a coffee date. Exchanged text messages that she immediately deleted. Told him she would meet him for sex if conditions were different. She says all of the things she did in the relationship were out of fear and that anything physical between them was abuse and not wanted by my wife. He's clearly a predator considering he was doing this to other co-workers. I don't think he would need her willingness in any way to continue pursuing her or try to get sexual gratification from her. And she's never been one to be flirtatious or have relationships or needs met outside of our marriage. She considers this relationship as 100% abuse and is unwilling to admit that she could have done anything wrong or that betrayed our marriage. I've had to drag her to every therapy session and she refused any type of apology or accountability unless I've given her ultimatums. It's been 4 years since D-Day and I'm still struggling to understand what happened and how I feel about it. Shaved her privates for him. Dude. How much proof do you need? Pointing finger, pointing finger, pointing finger. This is here. That is literally a cascade of red flags. Not once did I feel any abuse from her BS story. She is manipulating the hell out of Op. Yeah, I know. I go to great mental lengths excusing what happened because she was a victim of abuse. Nice to get an outside opinion. I am grateful that after all my wayward betrayal, disrespect, and contempt I still think I am an awesome person and that I am deserving of love. Update. Been working on myself lately. As my therapist says, you keep being awesome and she's either along for that ride or not. Wayward's validation is not needed, thank you. I got the contempt vibe from the day she announced she wanted a divorce. You know, the vibe you get that you are some kind of monster that was mean, cruel, and selfish, except it was actually her that is being mean, cruel, and selfish. I feel this way too much. I feel this too. He cheated on me but he is angry that I might feel hostile towards him. Like WTF. He acts like I am the one with issues. It's been hard but taking the high road and sticking with no or minimal contact, because co-parenting. Good for you, friend. You give us all hope for the future. Thanks for sharing. Welcome. What are you grateful for? It's all still very fresh for me, just 2 weeks since I found out, but I suppose I'm grateful for finding out before we had kids together. WW found out I'm reading Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life update, and boy is she pissed. Till she can see what Audible books I am listening to. Just remind her that she is the one that chose this. She refuses to acknowledge she had an affair, so that's where we are. I read through your history to get an idea, and it sounds like she had sex with her boss for several months. What does she call it? Abuse? 100% abuse. If she calls it abuse, has she reported it to the police and to the company? If she hasn't, it's pretty simple. Are we sure she is saying the AP was the abuser? Seems super common for the WW to say the BH was the abuser and that they cheated because of it. Her narrative is that she did everything that was done to her and the things she did were out of fear. For you to begin to believe it, tell her you need to see a police report. I'm sure her boss's insurance company will also be interested. I'm M38, having a hard time dealing with what happened to my wife, F39, of 15 years. Posted this elsewhere, but the comments were locked, looking for some perspective on what could be considered cheating or having an affair. I'm stuck on she didn't want this to happen, so I shouldn't be upset about anything, and it's really keeping me from processing. I'm having a hard time thinking of her as having no agency in this relationship for months. Any outside perspective would be helpful. Thank you. My wife made friends with her boss without telling me anything about it. He hit on her relentlessly and she wouldn't return any kind of overt flirting but was still nice to him, watched TV shows he recommended, sent him a note of how she appreciated him spending time with her, gave him a pet name. She admitted to me that she liked having his attention. Eventually, it came to a head and she told him she had a crush on him, but she was married and she couldn't act on anything. She told him about when she was pregnant and took a trip to a winery. She wanted to, but she didn't drink any of the wine. She told him this situation was similar. She told me she didn't really have a crush on him and this was an attempt to let him down easy. He told her he had the same feelings about her and began pressuring her into a physical relationship. He would regularly spend time with her and demand hugs and kisses. She told me she would have a fawn response to his pressure and let kisses and hugs happen. She attributed this to a learned pattern of fawning when bullied by her brother in her childhood. He continued to visit her and pressured her for more and more contact. He got her to regularly sit on his lap where he would touch her all over her body and put his fingers in her. She told me she played the part of his work girlfriend and continued to comply with his requests out of fear of being further assaulted, fear of employment consequences in his power, and fear of being exposed. According to her, she never touched him aside from the hugging and kissing, which she claims were always just smooches on the lips, and he initiated all of the sexual contact. This lasted for about 10 months before she found out he was doing the same things with another co-worker. She let it slip to one of his peers that he was in relationships with subordinates. She told me right before she had to have meetings with her HR. During the course of their relationship she shaved her privates and legs so she would be smooth when he touched her. Would take his calls outside of work. Waited after hours at work for him to visit her. Met with him for a coffee date. Exchanged text messages that she immediately deleted. Told him she would meet him for sex if conditions were different. All of this, she said she did because he pressured her and she felt like she had to do as his girlfriend. I stood by her side, got her a lawyer, and fought her HR to keep her from employment consequences. Eventually, there was an investigation and they fired the boss and removed him from this field of work. TLDR. My wife says she was forced into a relationship with her boss and I'm having trouble excusing her behavior. Can I still be upset if she did things she didn't want to do? Update, had a heart-to-heart with WW. It was a DARVO session. Update. From my previous post, I'm reading books to better understand infidelity and she saw what I was reading. She flipped out and started abusive language and lashing out. We sat down so I could explain what's been going on with me. I told her calmly, I need to understand more about betrayal and affairs so I can decide how I was betrayed. Then I can grieve and deal with it. And hopefully move past it. She told me I'm reading the wrong books and that's not her story. I asked her point blank, was I not betrayed? She looks at me stone-faced, no. Okay, there's the D. Then she launched into, you are pathetic for reading that book without talking to me first. Pathetic for not moving heaven and earth to reassure me you are not leaving this family. Pathetic. Okay, there's the A. Then comes, you forever scarred me and this relationship with this. You insisting you were betrayed invalidates everything I did to survive what I went through. I think it's easier for you if you make yourself a victim and hate me. Duck you asshole. Hey oh. R to the V to the O. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night, wherever you are.